Hello, everybody, and welcome to Whispers Radio here on AM 1600 WKKX, the Valley's Watchdog, and UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. It is around 6...
Ish. And
there's some weather
July
outside.
25th.
It's July 25th when
That's
this airs.
right.
Well, hopefully, because something could happen next week, and we'd have to do it the following week.
No.
You know how it
Don't
goes.
confuse things.
It's a recorded show, so don't call Lola because she's not paying attention. That's how it goes.
True.
Last week we were talking about my dog's name.
Yes.
Now, do you think it's too early? Because for those of you that are listening now, I'm still in the discussion because it's still the week we started talking about my dog's name.
Yes.
So, do you think it's too early to name it? I mean, it'll be 10 weeks tomorrow.
No. They need to learn their name, and you need to get it immediately into obedience classes so you can imprint.
Now, I thought that it had to be a certain age before you could start the obedience classes.
No, they like to get them real young.
Really?
Yeah, because then they imprint. Don't ask me what, but that's what they told me.
Okay. And that Petco has them, right?
Petco?
Petco has some puppy obedience or something like that.
No. You need to go where I go.
Well, where does you go?
I go to the Upper Ohio Valley Obedience Training Center or Club.
Where's
it's
that
in
at?
Blair.
Okay, and since we're talking about them, they're going to let us in for free, right?
No,
I didn't think so.
I'm a member of the club now, and that's why I've had Gretchen in 2 classes there. And she did real well. But they have puppy classes, too.
Really?
Yes.
Is it expensive?
No.
Is there like a certain amount of classes you got to do, or is it like bring it when you can?
It's like, no, it's 6 in a row, 6 weeks, once a week. But if you can't, for some reason, like, work gets in the way or something, they let you make it up and stuff. But they've got puppy classes. I mean, she's in. She's in advanced class.
Whatever. now, because mine being a boxer, it's a big dog. It's not, boxers are made because they're mixed in with the bully breeds.
Well,
it's like
that's why you need to get into training now.
Yeah.
So that you don't have behavior problems when he's 100 pounds and you can not control it.
That's my worry. My dad too. My dad's telling me to look into it too. So I want to get you to write that information down. You said it's in Blair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got the card at home. I got to call you with other stuff, so I'll give you their phone number. And I don't know when the next puppy class is started.
Yeah.
But they'll let you know. They've got a website too, and you can get on there.
No, I definitely think I'm sticking with the name Bones though.
I like Bones. I think
too.
that's clever.
Because when he's all big, he's like, "Come on, Bones!"
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Ooh."
Oh.
I don't know.
I know.
That's what's going on. I mean, it's not too intimidating now, where he's like 10 pounds and this big.
But wait till it gets bigger. Yeah, you need to get him imprinted.
What does that mean?
It just because they're so small, they're so young. It's like a baby's brain. They learn things, they absorb.
Well, they're
things.
smart dogs because my dad's got his fetching already. I mean, 10 weeks old, and he's teaching him how to fetch, and mine's starting to sit. We were throwing popcorn at him the other day to get him to sit. I don't know if that's bad or not.
No, that's not bad.
Let's go ahead to our guest.
Okay, here is our guest.
Our guest tonight is Mr. Jason Offutt. We're talking. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting so long for this topic.
Jason, he has
Black-eyed kids, and I've been trying to tell people like all week. They're like, "Oh yeah, what's the show going to be about? What's the show going to be about?" And I'm like, "Oh," and I'm giving them stories, and I'm like, "Okay, there's a guy in a security guard, and these kids come up to a building, and their eyes are all black, and." They're trying to come in.
Help him out, Jason. Help him out.
I'm thinking he's been telling people all the stuff I'm going to talk about tonight.
What? No, well, see, that's
my
great.
weekend, I guess.
Believe me, Jason, the information you have to impart
is going to be way better.
Yes, there is no challenge here. No challenge.
All right, so tell us the real story. What are black-eyed kids?
Well, if I knew that answer for 100% certainty, I'd be making a lot of money off their off their movie rights, I guess. Black-eyed kids. Well, let me start off at the beginning when they started getting noticed in popular culture. It was just in 1998. A journalist named Brian Bethel, who I talked with in the last couple of years. In 1998, he was in a town in Texas stopped at a strip mall to pay his cable bill. He's writing a check out on the dash. He was going to take it and drop it in the night deposit slot. And as he was doing this, because it was kind of late at night, there was a knock on his window, car window, and he had his window cracked a little bit. He looked up, and there's a couple of teenagers around 14, 15 years old. And he didn't think much of it because there was a movie theater in that strip mall.
Uh-huh.
And the kids were like, hey, would you please take us back to our house because we left our money there and we really want to see this movie. And immediately the guy got creeped out. The kids were, they were dressed in hoodies. They were extremely well-spoken for kids of that age. The type of speech pattern that, they should have been in their 30s, but no, they looked like about 14 or 15. And they had a commanding tone to their voices. And he felt compelled to unlock the door and let them in, and then he took a really good look at them, and their eyes were completely black. There's no iris, no whites in them. It's just black. And that immediately just terror down his spine, and he threw the car in reverse and got out of there. And as he was leaving, he looked in the rearview mirror, and the kids were in this mostly empty parking lot were gone. And there was no way they could have even run to the other side of the parking lot in the amount of time that he had. But that's a typical experience.
You scared the crap out of Lola's dog.
Yes, I heard that. I don't know. There's only been one occurrence that I've talked to people about involving a dog, and the dog was rather indifferent toward the black-eyed kid. But
are they like
Cline would run in fear, trust me. She's afraid of everything. That was somebody yelling out on the street,
Oh. He's just answering.
She's a big baby.
Now are they like soulless hell beasts? I mean, like what are, like, because I think of it and I'm like, man, they're like demonic, and that's kind of like what I've been throwing out like when people are asking me.
Well, I actually went into this topic pretty much in detail. A year and a half ago, maybe. I wrote an article for Nexus magazine about black-eyed kids, and I tried to explore every angle I possibly could. And I interviewed people who saw black-eyed kids from Missouri to Oklahoma to Texas, California, Toronto, England, London specifically. But anyway, yeah. And all of these cases were extremely similar, but the impressions people had were different. They were similar in the fact that the children, a lot of them are children, but some of the older ones resembled people in their early 20s. But generally, they're from like 7 years old to mid-teens. They're dressed a little bit out of date. Especially the younger ones tend to have clothes that are like 20, 30 years out of date.
Really?
They tend to be tend to be filthy, greasy hair, have really bad breath. But when people encounter them, they're immediately afraid for no reason because it's a kid. There's a kid talking to me. Why am I afraid of this 7-year-old child?
Well, kids are creepy.
Well, having enough of my own, yes, they are. And they get the fear, but they also feel compelled when these kids, a 7-year-old talking to you like they're an adult, you feel compelled to do what they want, what they say, and you start to do it. If they say, please let me into your house, you start to open the door, and then they realize, oh crap, something's wrong, and then they see the black eyes, and the real terror sets in, and they, slam doors. Everybody I've talked to has slammed doors on these things. But that's pretty typical of an encounter.
Now, what do you think happens? If they're let in.
I've talked to a number of people who've speculated that maybe people who die of natural causes unexpectedly at 34 years old. They're just found laying on their floor or on their couch in their apartment. Maybe they'll let a black-eyed kid in. Who knows? Because I haven't talked to anybody who's done it.
So all the reports are people who have not let them in. There's no reports of somebody who's let them in. I have talked to one person who claims to have let them in, but a 15-year-old kid. I don't know. It sounded. I've got a pretty good BS detector. I was a print journalist for about 17 years, and when my kids are teenagers, I hope I've got a really good BS detector. And this kid sounded like she was making things up, so I kind of discounted it. But you had asked earlier, what are they? Are they demons from hell?
a lot of. I interviewed people who, a Catholic exorcist. Of course, that's what they said. This thing's demonic. Leave it alone. But I also spoke with people who are familiar with the Islamic religion and have nailed these as their jinn. They are what the Western culture is turned into the genie, but as anything but Barbara Eden running around in a bikini top. The jinn are attached to every human according to Islam, whether you're Islamic or not. The jinn can be Islam and you not be Islam, and if that's the case, your life's going to be hell. If you're Islam and the jinn is also Islamic, then you're going to be copacetic. But if you're Islamic and the jinn is not, it's going to torture you for life. Anyway, the person actually I talked to a couple of people who said that that's what this is. I've interviewed other people who encountered black-eyed kids who were convinced right at the moment that they met them that they were hybrid extraterrestrials.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, but all these things we're talking about here, are unknowns. We're explaining one unknown with a half a dozen other unknowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what they are, I don't know, but they scare the crap out of me.
And now, have you ever experienced anything like that?
No, I haven't, and I hope not to. I've written about the paranormal for years, and my basic outlook toward it is the paranormal is really fun as long as it's happened to somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't want this to happen. In fact, I was planning on writing a book. My next book was going to be on the black-eyed kids, and my wife's like, if one of these things knocks on my door after you write this book, it's your ass. So I've kind of put that on hold.
Now, Lola, I think, is the only one that really wants the paranormal experience.
I do. Yes, I do.
Well, here, I have a question for you, Lola.
Okay.
Have you had anything paranormal happen to you?
No.
Okay. See, it will happen to you once, and then you will join my side.
Which is? You
want it to happen to other people and not you.
Well, I know somebody told me one time, be careful what you wish for,
Exactly. I encountered shadow people when I was about 9 or 10 years old, over about a 6-month period, and that got my curiosity going about the paranormal, but it also made me realize that I don't want to mess with it.
Well, we have been to the West Virginia Pen. I've been there twice now on ghost hunt things. Nothing ever happens. Nothing. I mean, every once in a while, I have a K2, and I was acting silly in the yard and just doing my usual, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? And this thing went crazy. But that's the extent of it. And then the other day I was in a house over here on Wheeling Island, which is an island. And the third floor room, she was warning me that people really don't want to go in that room, that there's just something about that room. And so I went in, of course, and I really had a hard time breathing. It was like something was sitting on my chest. And as soon as I left the room, I was fine and I could go anywhere else upstairs. But those are the only 2 instances I've ever had.
Well, and I've had that happen to me before in a haunted hotel that was being refurbished. And I didn't interview anybody about the hotel. I wanted, until I got finished touring it, I wanted to go on a personal tour, which meant I didn't ask permission. And down this one hallway, as soon as I got off the stairwell and walked into the hallway, I felt exactly what you said. It felt like something pressing on my chest. My breathing was labored. I felt really panicky that I had to get out of there. And I later found out after I interviewed people that that's where the ghost is reportedly seen quite often. So, I mean, as much as I like to tell people that I don't want the paranormal to happen to me, since I'm a journalist by trade, I really have to put myself in situations to where it can, just like that one.
Well, I think even if you're, because I've had other people tell me that, they really don't like it. I would be so enthralled, I guess, that even if it was scary, I would want it to repeat simply because it would be an experience, I guess. I don't know. But I just really...
Okay, you never know what's going to happen until it happens. So, I mean, you know, you might want it to happen, but when it happens, you know, it might be a completely different story.
That's true. But give me the opportunity. Let's put it that way. I want the opportunity.
Well, let me tell you a story about opportunity. I was in college, standing in line to get books quite a long time ago, and there's this really cute girl standing next to me, and I'd be like, yeah, man, I really would like to talk to her. I really wish she was a little closer to me. Then all of a sudden she was leaning into me, and she'd fainted, and I didn't catch her. So, yeah, that's what a situation and opportunity gets you.
That's great.
Thanks for letting me drop, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Jeez.
That's funny.
Now, with the Men in Black,
this is another one of Jordan's favorite subjects.
Because something that kind of goes with them is, you know, like the older clothing, their speech is kind of, you know, not fitting to what they look like or the time of the era. Do you think there's any kind of connection between the Black Eyed Kids and...
Well, no, I really don't. I mean, I think the Black Eyed Kids or the Men in Black are something completely different. I mean, I've read Keel's stuff. I haven't read Nick Redfern's newest stuff on the Men in Black.
It's good.
I can guarantee you're absolutely right. Nick wrote a foreword to one of my books, by the way. Nick's a good guy. Anyway, it's the behavior is completely different. I mean, the Men in Black are more related to UFOs. Black Eyed Kids are just really creepy because I mean, creepier than that. I mean, their pattern of behavior is, well, first, the Men in Black is, you saw a UFO, we know you saw it, don't talk to anybody about it. Oh, what is that really cool thing you've got? Let me see. You know, I don't know what this is. It's an ink pen. Oh, I have it. But the Black Eyed Kids always demand to be let into your space. If you're in a car, they want to come in your car. If you're in a house, they want to come into your house. If they meet you out in public, even if it's a deserted area, which is a story I got from England, a man was walking home from a friend's house about 1 o'clock in the morning and ran into a couple of 12-year-old kids, and it just blew his mind that, hey, these kids shouldn't be out here at this time of night. And they were asking this guy where a cemetery was in town. And the cemetery was, you know, right in the neighborhood, and it was a really famous one. And he was like, if you live here, you got to know where the cemetery is. And they were trying to get him to take him to the cemetery and walk inside the cemetery grounds. And he eventually got terrified and ran off.
Yeah, a bunch of kids were like, come stand in the cemetery with us.
Yeah, at 1 o'clock in the morning, yeah. But that's, you know, kind of their behavior. It's kind of like a Hollywood vampire. They need you to give them permission to come into your personal space. And whatever happens after that point, you know, is anybody's guess. Men in Black will appear anywhere, and they don't seem to follow that sort of behavior. I don't think there's any correlation whatsoever. Now, if I may say something else going on about the Black Eyed Kids, when I did my research, I made sure I tried to answer every terrestrial question I could think of, like drugs, because there are a lot of, you know, prescription and narcotic drugs that will, you know, completely blow your pupil up.
Yeah.
But, you know, in interviewing doctors and pharmacists and, you know, chemists about this sort of thing, there is no drug that can make your pupil cover your entire the white of your eye. I talk to physicians about eye disorders, and there are disorders where the pupil's really big and you don't have an iris, but you do have a white. And I talked with, you know, makeup people about contact lenses that they use in Hollywood that fit over the eye.
But that'd be like a full contact.
Yeah, it covers the entire white that's visible. And I interviewed a guy who actually bought a pair just to freak people out for Halloween, and he had to get a prescription. 1, 2, they cost $300 an eye. Wow. And 3, they kept popping out like every 15-20 minutes, and they were really uncomfortable to put back in. So, I mean, if you run into somebody who's in their 20s who's got black eyes, you know, maybe I could see that. 7, 8, 9-year-old kid, you know, isn't going to have shelled out, or their parents wouldn't have shelled out, you know, $600 for these, you know, special contact lenses. and they wouldn't be wearing them for another thing.
Well, the thing, too, is that would have to be for all of the stories to have the same kind of ring of truth to them. I can't see kids being that coordinated in no matter what the hoax is. Really, how's 7, 8, 9-year-old kids going to hook up and concoct the same story in this country as in England? And it just doesn't.
They're all talking on Xbox. That's.
But still, I don't see it because these stories have been around a whole lot longer too than.
Man, it's so creepy.
Well, yeah, they've been around a lot longer than the one I mentioned with Brian Bethel in 1998. But that's when it first started gaining popularity in popular culture. I mean, stories about this and images like this have been around for a really long time.
I think there's something demonic, or like now. When I say vampire, I don't mean like True Blood vampire. But some things, that if not, well, I don't think they suck your blood, but suck your energy, that kind of thing. Like some type of vampire like that.
Well, it could. Vampires, they're not allowed in unless you invite them.
That's right.
That's one of the rules.
Well, that's a Hollywood rule. Because I've done a lot of research into traditional vampires.
Uh-huh.
And this is one of the things that...
You mean they don't turn into bats?
No.
That is horrible.
Darn it.
And that's one of the things that I find interesting about vampires, just as much as I find interesting about ghosts and Bigfoot encounters, is that vampires are in traditions all over the freaking planet.
Yep. Since
every continent,
yep.
Every culture. I mean, how can they make this stuff up if for thousands of years we were disconnected?
It's not just in Romania and.
No,
Transylvania.
It's in Transylvania University, and where is that? Pennsylvania.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So the vampire thing. You have to be invited in. Complete Hollywood misconception.
Well, dang! I thought I knew something cool.
Yeah, and werewolves can turn into a werewolf anytime. Full moon has nothing to do with it. Maybe it just helps you see more of them.
That could be.
Yeah.
That could be.
Well, and one of the cases of a black-eyed person who wasn't a kid, because I mentioned most of them are 7 to 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
I talked with a woman from Australia. She lived in Melbourne, and she worked at a hospital. And there was a new person. I can't remember her name. Jill, maybe. It doesn't matter. But there was a new person who started, and she got a really bad vibe from this new nurse. And one day she needed this nurse's help because they were both on duty at the same time in the same hall. And she asked somebody, have you seen Jill? And they're like, yeah, she's way back in this ward, and she might be in the restroom. So this nurse went back in the restroom and found her, and her back was facing the door. And the nurse walked in and said, I need your help. And Jill turned around, and her eyes were black, like a rat's eyes, staring at her. And this woman panicked and ran out of the room screaming and just left the hospital for 3 days. She left. She had a friend call in sick for a couple of days because she couldn't even muster the courage to call in.
Wow.
But when she went back, Jill had gone back to Melbourne. She'd quit after a couple of days, but the 2 days that this woman was gone from the hospital, Jill kept demanding to know where she was. So this woman is scared to go to this town to this day. Because black-eyed kids are okay to think about, but if they're asking you for you by name, yeah, that's kind of creepy.
I wouldn't really say they're okay to think about. I mean, it's all really, really creepy.
They're okay to think about. Just don't talk about them out loud. Oh crap!
You're done. You're done for. You're done.
20 so minutes.
One's gonna walk into the station here. Excuse me.
I let my dog bark then, like she would. Probably go beg.
Oh man, where to go from here? Now other stuff other than the black-eyed kids, of course. You've been writing about the paranormal for quite some time. And I know you were telling us, you have experience with ghosts, with, time travel, with,
Yeah, ghost, time travel. I've written a little bit about Bigfoot, not nearly as much as I want to, because that really intrigues me. But I wrote a book, came out in 2009 on shadow people, which
now we have a kind of a famous case around here where we're at in Moundsville. There's a penitentiary, the West Virginia State Penitentiary. It's got the famous Shadow Man picture. So tell us some stuff about the Shadow Man.
Well, I'll mention my background first. I mentioned earlier I was about 8, 9, 10 years old, and we lived way out in the country. I grew up on a farm, and we always kept our blinds open because the only peeping Tom we might have is a deer. So whenever the moon was out, my room was completely illuminated. I could make out my bookshelf, my desk, the foot of the bed, my Farrah Fawcett poster on the wall, which kind of shows you how old I am. So, I could see my room really well, and one night, I just turned the light off and lay down in bed, and one corner of my room was really dark, and all of a sudden, a blacker-than-night human-shaped figure walked out of it. And
out of the corner?
Out of the corner, and it unfortunately walked right by my bed, which the head of my bed was right next to the door, and it walked out and through the doorway. And it was about 1.5 feet away from my bed. And, of course that scared the hell out of me, and I screamed for my parents. They turned lights on, and nobody was in the house. But that continued to happen. Not every night, but like every week or so, and eventually it stopped. But it wasn't just one shadow person. It was like maybe some nights there'd be a line of 10 of them. Maybe there'd be 2. Maybe there'd be 5. And the cool thing was they never looked at me.
Thank God.
Yes, I don't know. My heart might have seized up at 9. Most of the encounters that I recorded in my book, Darkness Walks, involved shadow people who do notice the people who notice them. And sometimes the shadow person seems kind of shocked that they're noticed, and they run away. Other times, the shadow person, the person who experiences, can feel them smile. They can't see it, but they can feel it, and then they feel them, energy being drained from them. So, shadow people can be a lot of different things. I don't think there's just one type of shadow person out there. There are residual ghosts that maybe that's the only. The only thing they can muster is to appear as a shadow, and some of them are obvious to me to be demonic type beings because they seem to enjoy sucking energy from people, and some of them have blazing red eyes.
Oh.
People have reported waking up in the middle of the night, to straight awake, and all. There's something looming over their bed with blazing red eyes, and they're so terrified.
And you saw this at 9?
Huh?
Yeah, he said that you saw this at 9?
Yeah.
How did you deal with it?
I wet the bed.
How?
I wasn't making a joke.
How?
I wet the bed. My mom was like, "What the hell are you doing, Jason? You're 9 years old. You wet the bed?" Well, I really didn't want to get up.
Oh,
Mom.
you wet the bed. I thought you said you went to bed.
No, I wet the bed.
Now this is one encounter I do not want to have. I don't want to see anything like that. But when we were at the pen, we were in there. I was in that hallway, and I took tons of pictures, and of course, no shadow person popped out at me. But it was really deceptive too, being in that hall and looking down. I could have sworn I saw something like incrementally moving toward me. But take a picture, and there was nothing there. So.
Doesn't mean there wasn't.
Oh, thanks, James.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I interviewed a woman who was on a ghost hunt at the Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
That's one of my places on my bucket list.
And she was she was in a hall. It was dark, and she was just waiting for something to happen. And she noticed it was gray because there was a lot of light coming in. And she noticed the shadow person walking down the hall toward her. And she said the impression she got is it was like maybe a guard making its rounds.
Yeah.
And as it got close to her, she turned her flashlight on and shone it on this shadow figure, expecting it to dissipate. But the light hit the shadow person's arm, and she said she could kind of tell it looked at its arm, and then threw its arm down. And like you got like a fridge magnet, it kind of peeled itself away from the wall. It was a two-dimensional form. It peeled itself away like you were peeling a magnet off the refrigerator and ran down the hallway.
Whoa.
That's one of the more interesting encounters, because usually if somebody turns the light on, they're gone. But this light hit it, it reacted to the light, and then it ran from the light.
Wow.
I'm trying to picture that in my head right now, it peeling itself off the wall, kind of like a cartoon.
Yeah, maybe not so much like a fridge magnet, but what are those things that people play with when they're kids that you've got?
Oh, yeah, those little... Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Those little plastic things, and they stick to a shiny surface.
Yeah, you have a house, and you've got people and furniture, and you stick them and you peel them.
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I didn't have a Scooby-Doo one. That would have been awesome.
That's the one I remember, but anyway.
Now, do you think maybe they could be dimensional,
Which I put when I was working on my book, I put on my blog From the Shadows a poll of what do you think these things could be, and I had interdimensional travelers, ghosts, demons, extraterrestrials, and a whole list of things. And interdimensional travelers was 80-some% of what people thought they might be. When I talked with a couple of physicists about it, they laughed at that, but that actually really kind of makes sense to me that there might be weak places in between the dimensions, and maybe they're just people, and that's all we can see of them.
No, I'll go with that theory.
Yeah, because there are a lot of cases. There are a lot of cases, like in my case, that people, shadow people were walking from one corner of the room out into the hallway. And there have been lots of other cases that I've talked to people about where they've done just that. They've walked from point A to point B, and whatever point that we're sitting at, point C, is kind of in the middle, and we see them going, and that's it.
Fringe was like that, where there was, that TV show Fringe, where there were two dimensions, almost exactly the same, but not quite. And there was just this thin membrane between the two dimensions. And that makes, I would buy that theory. And of course there's no physicist going to agree with it, but, I think it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, physicists I've found, because I teach at a university, and I get to hang around with people of, scientists of different types, and physicists are fun to drink beer with. It's fun to drink beer and talk about time travel with people who actually have theories about it.
I bet.
Now, do any of them believe that they can do time travel? They have traveled? I remember we had a physicist one time who said he built a time machine in his basement, and he traveled through time. I think Dougie was running the board that night.
Yeah.
I would really like to talk to that person.
I'll see if I can dig him down.
Please do that. Please do that. Because there's a lot of accepted time travel theories out there that physics say, these things can work. But they require things like, a metal tube that's, 500 miles long going, X hundred millions of miles an hour. We've got theories that say it can work, but, our physics, our science can't do it. That's what the physicists say, and they're really, some of them are really excited about it. The guys that I talked to, actually, we got a grant to buy a time machine off the internet. Which is really cool to say, hey, we got a time machine. And I had a class 2 years ago called Paranormal Journalism, which is what my part of the grant was to get the machine and use it as a demonstration in this class, and they're writing a paper on it. But it was the one from Napoleon Dynamite. Anyway.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it didn't shock you, but that's okay.
Oh, I don't know. It must be. I would think it'd be frustrating to be a physicist or a scientist, and actually believe that these theories, that your theory is sound and that it would work, but not have the technology to make it happen.
Agreed. Agreed. And my physicist friends are also avid ghost hunters, and they try to prove prove ghosts are real, because they're like, if somebody's going to prove it, it's going to be scientists. We're scientists. We want to prove this, because that's what it's going to take. For the mainstream to grab a hold of something, if scientists actually bottle something in a laboratory. So I give my physicist friends a lot of luck on this. I really hope they do it someday.
Kudos for the effort.
Well, we've had somebody on he was from California, I think, and he claims that he's got a box that can trap a spirit, because they were threatening to put me in it.
Is it yellow and slides across the floor?
I don't know. It's got little diamonds and hearts on it. Yeah. I don't know. Remember that guy?
Yeah, I remember. Isn't he a talk show host out in California somewhere?
Yeah. That's a couple of years ago we had him on. Huh.
Yeah, the thing is, if somebody has a machine that would capture a ghost, if somebody has a time machine that actually works,
we'd hear about it.
Yeah.
And that's I guess the downside of doing this show. You get so many people that claim that they have it, and it's like, okay, prove it.
Yeah.
Like we used to have some government guy, it's like he gave Obama a deadline to talking about extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen by this date, something big's going to happen. We're like, all right, yeah.
We're still waiting.
Yeah, nothing big ever happened.
We're still waiting.
Like the preacher back in May who was like, yes, the world's going to end on May 21st.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, we had a Bigfoot guy on, too, that he was
in Arizona. I don't remember his name.
No, I don't either, but Jordan was so skeptical of Bigfoot. So he said he would actually pay to fly me and Jordan out there, and we could hang out until he actually trapped one. But he wasn't going to pay for it our way home. So
he was going to get us out in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, and leave us, and just leave us.
Slay us.
Yeah.
No, but he said he this was like a year or two ago. He
said, you guys might have been Bigfoot food.
Yes, we were the bait.
Yeah,
he said
we're the goat.
He said he moved to Arizona and he was not leaving until he found one, and we have not got a call back from him at all.
Well, and that's because I mentioned Bigfoot earlier, and that's one of those aspects of the paranormal that I'm really fascinated by, because it's everywhere. There are Bigfoot reports, of course, across all of North America, across South America. Europe, England even has Bigfoot encounters. There are, of course, the Yowie in Australia, the Yeti, the Alma. All these, the Yeren across Asia, and there have been reports of an ape that we haven't classified yet that walks upright, is as big as a gorilla, and has gorilla and chimp type characteristics, that lives in East Africa. That this stuff's all over the place. And it's these legends have been around for centuries upon centuries.
What do you think it is?
I don't have a clue, but I want somebody to shoot one.
Nice. Don't just trap it, just shoot the damn thing,
Yeah, I know. Feel guilty about it afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, darn, the only living Bigfoot, I shot it.
Yeah, shut people up about it. Just kill it.
And see, my thought is on that topic, if they were there would be a dead one. Like, I don't buy the whole, you never see the remains. After hundreds and hundreds of years, you would see the remains somewhere of subtype, not just a footprint.
Well, it really depends. If something drops in the woods, if a large animal drops in the woods, and really in thick woods, and you don't find it immediately, within a few weeks, everything's going to be gone. I mean, like in the Pacific Northwest where we think of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got all sorts of predators. You got insects. I mean, nothing. I mean, given the climate up there, things decay really rapidly. You've got porcupines that eat bone. So, I mean, you're not going to find a bear. You're not going to find a big cat in the woods generally, unless it just drops dead, yesterday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can understand why you don't find dead Bigfoot anywhere.
It's just frustrating, maybe.
No, it's very frustrating. I don't want somebody to hit one with its car because that would really screw the radiator up. But maybe a big truck.
Your insurance would go through the roof. Can you see trying to explain that to your insurance company?
You hit a person? No, he was only as big as a person. He was hairy. He was
Bigfoot.
You hit a man with your car? No.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen somebody, 7 foot tall, covered with hair? So you hit a WWE wrestler.
What was it that that they took YouTube videos?
The one in Florida, was it Florida where they had it in a cooler? It was just a
that was Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah, and that was a total embarrassment.
Faked or something?
Yeah, there's something recently they faked. I interviewed a Bigfoot guy from Illinois, Indiana. It's been a couple of years ago, and he told me show on the History Channel maybe, Monster Hunters, Monster Quest.
Yeah, they had the Grass Man.
One of those. Yeah. Anyway, he was telling me, he's like, don't believe any of this stuff. I don't believe stuff on TV anyway. He said, don't believe something you see on this show, because I was their Bigfoot expert. And there was a case where they got evidence of a Bigfoot, and it was, a Bigfoot throwing rocks at them. And the rocks would hit a pond. And he said, I was sitting there when they got their big evidence, and it was a big frog jumping in the water.
Oh, no. Well, I know we had one guy on that was talking about the grass man or something, and he was saying...
I think I knew the grass man in college.
I knew several, but we're not going there. I have this reputation now to protect.
Lola was the grass woman.
Anyway, this guy was saying that they're in Eastern Ohio, which is like right across the river from us, and that the reason you never find any bodies is because the ground is so acidic that it just eats up the corpse right away. And I thought, nah, I'm not buying that one. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any debris in the wood, Well,
I mean, it depends. I'm not an expert on acidic ground.
Neither am I, but I know crops grow. So, if it's that acidic and it's eating up corpses.
Nobody go barefoot outside.
Really. I know, but that guy out in Arizona, he was too much. Too much. The fact that
Which is one of the interesting things I've found since investigating the paranormal. I've run into a lot of really, I'm putting finger quotes up here, interesting people.
Yes, so have we. It's amazing. And
I've also run into a lot of really credible, really intelligent, hardworking people who are really trying to get to the bottom of answering all these mysteries.
No, I know. You were talking about him earlier, Redfern?
Nick Redfern.
Yeah. He was really interesting. We had him on about a month ago, I think. He was really interesting. But some other ones, you'd think perhaps they're sitting in a basement with a tinfoil hat on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Nick goes out in the field and does lots of research, which is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to write about something, get out there and find it.
Okay, well, I'm going to catch you on that one. What kind of research do you do?
Well,
you write about everything, so that's why.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I go out. I'm a journalist by trade. I'm not a paranormal investigator. I'm a reporter, and I go out. I find a story. I go out and interview people who've experienced said phenomena. I interview whatever I investigate whatever they experienced. I go out there to see for myself. And I do historical research to see if this thing has ever happened at that point again. I mean, like I said, I just do journalist work.
Okay.
Well, have you heard about that?
And if that takes sitting in a haunted spot that's supposed to be haunted by a woman who died in 1880 on this particular spot, I will sit on the place where she died at 2:00 in the morning when her spirit's supposed to show up and wait for it.
Well, you might want to sit a little to the left just in case.
Maybe that's why it was so cold.
That's offset a little bit. You don't want to interrupt.
I don't know. It might be kind of nice.
I am not touching any of this. The hum. You've heard about that?
The Taos hum.
Yeah. Well, somebody handed me a story about that a couple weeks ago, and that fascinates me too. I have no idea what it could possibly be. If you start looking into, particularly the stories coming out of England, where it's really rural, there's just nothing there that would create this kind of noise or phenomenon.
Well, yeah, this has happened actually in places all across the world. They've reported this type of hum. I think there's one on the East Coast, if I remember correctly. Who knows? It could be anything. I mean, it could be. I know a guy who does work on underground government bases. It could be something like that if you believe in that sort of thing.
Well, if you know a guy that works on them, you'd have to believe it, right?
Well, I know a guy who researches them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I'm not lucky enough to know people who are on the inside of anything.
It's like, I know
Except
a guy
for McDonald's, man. I know a guy who works there.
I know a guy that works in Area 51, if you believe in that.
Yeah.
Well, I just find that fascinating that, all of a sudden there's just this noise, and it comes on and goes off at precisely the same time. Most people can hear it that live there. And, particularly the one in England that I was reading about. There aren't any mines, there are no mills, there's no industry, there's no base. It's just rural countryside, and they get this noise.
Right. I really haven't done any research into that. I've read some, minor things, so I really can't comment on it.
I just find that fascinating, too. There's so much. I'd give anything to be fabulously independently wealthy and then just be able to spend all my time, I think I'll look into this week and look into this week, Instead of
Charles Fort did that.
Who?
Charles Fort. He wrote a number of books back in the early 1900s about, he was just a rich bored guy. Who liked the paranormal, and he did a lot of research and wrote a lot of groundbreaking books about paranormal activity around the world.
See, I could do that. Just if I only had the money.
Well, I mean, you kind of do that, right, Jason? You, being a journalist, you look into, you say, this interests me. I'm going to check it out and look into it and see what I could do.
Well, yeah, to some extent, yeah. I mean, that's my side. That's my hobby. It's not my day job.
Yeah.
Well, we are just about out of time.
I do want to thank you, Jason.
Well, go through his books. The books. What books?
Okay,
How do you get them?
Where can we get your books?
Well, from a story I read today, apparently not Borders.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're all gone now. Yeah, they're liquidating. But you can get them at Amazon.com.
I still have a damn gift
there.
certificate.
You better go spend it now. I mean, leave right now.
I know it.
Right, go get in your car. Amazon.com or at my blog. Can I mention the URL?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's From the Shadows, and it's kind of a clunky URL, so I'll apologize. From-the-shadows.blogspot.com. There are links there. Also, I update the blog weekly on paranormal stories I find.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. We got a lot of listeners that like to follow up on people's blogs.
Yeah.
So, definitely. From the Shadows?
Yeah, From the Shadows. From-the-shadows.blogspot.com. The story I've got up today is about a dog boy, or a wolf boy.
Cool. I've got one sitting here at my feet.
Yeah. To be followed within I think next week or maybe the next is about a gnome encounter.
A gnome encounter.
Gnome encounter in California.
Nice.
Those damn garden gnomes, they just, they multiply like rabbits.
All right, Jason, I want to thank you. We got to have you back just because you got so much stuff.
Yep.
I mean, you can't just talk about one topic,
No, anytime you want to have me back, no problem. I'd love to be on.
And I'm so grateful that I finally got to talk about Black Eyed Kids. You have no clue.
No, we could still talk about more.
Okay.
All right.
Back on. We'll talk about the black-eyed hybrid extraterrestrial in Toronto.
All righty. Oh, I can see Jordan's
That's
already
called
salivating.
a teaser.
My lips already quivering.
Right.
That's Jason Offutt. Thank you very much, and we're gonna definitely have you back on.
All right, that would be fantastic. Thank you. I've had a great time on your show.
Thank you, Jason.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
For our listeners, I want to mention.
Yes.
Last week,
Yes.
we had Dr. Turi on,
Yes.
and he made a prediction.
Yes.
July 28th, 29th, and 30th. Hold
Yes.
on just a second. Let me pull this up real quick.
That's
Which
it.
would be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of the week that this show airs.
Yes. This coming Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
That there is supposed to be a huge national disaster. Natural. Whatever. That would cause thousands of people to relocate.
Yes, to be like displaced, like the tsunami or an earthquake. So we will see. Next Monday, we will review this
and see what
prophecy.
happens. So keep that in mind.
Go ahead.
Mark your calendars for the dates. Keep watching the news. We'll see what Dr. Turi's got going on.
And remember, too, in May or November of 2012, Casey Anthony will die.
Oh, I didn't even write that down.
I did.
You were hoping. I'm hoping it's sooner. Oh, sorry. Too soon? No, I hope she dies. Is that bad? Can I say that on the radio?
I
did.
I know. So it's there. It's out there.
Well,
here's my thought on Casey Anthony.
Go for it.
If she really, something else happened besides what we assume happened, that means that there's somebody out there that really did it. And that is scary.
And you know what? Just like that JonBenet Ramsey case,
Yep.
They stopped looking.
I know.
Oh, it wasn't the parents. Let's keep looking. Or let's not look.
O.J. Simpson.
They quit looking.
I mean, he always insisted that now, do I think he did it? Yes, I think he probably did do it. But in the off chance that he did not do it and he was telling the truth, there's a double murderer running around that has gotten away with murder.
Mm-hmm. Well, OJ, didn't like the parents sue him? Right after that, wasn't he guilty of libel?
No, there's a whole difference in evidence between a civil suit for wrongful death and a murder trial.
Yeah.
It's just a preponderance of the evidence. You just kind of have to believe, and you can, give them a civil.
You're too smart.
I don't know.
Yeah, my brain can't keep up with that. Keep those
and
dates
I'm
in mind.
starting to really, yes, that's it though. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
We'll see. Should we have
Yeah.
Dr. Turi on after that and be like, hey, what's up?
Well, I'm sure.
What happened?
You know what it could be? My play is going to bomb. That's going to be the big thing.
Okay, well, for local people, tell them.
Yes, Brook Hills starting next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday evenings. And then the following Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings and Sunday afternoon, Brook Hills, one of the funniest plays I have ever been involved with. It's called Laughing Stock, and it's a play within a play. And it's a very bad Dracul, Prince of the Undead.
And what are you in it?
Oh, I play a vampire bride, a Transylvanian peasant, Charlie's aunt, because it's 3 different plays. It's summer stock. It's like a summer stock company, and you get to watch. Oh, I play the Queen in Hamlet. But you see the backstage stuff as well as the stuff on stage. So it's like 2 plays in one.
Oh, wow.
It's funny.
How much?
I don't know. To get in?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe 12. I don't even know that it's that much.
All right.
I don't even know that it's that much. But it's out at Brook Hills, and if you're local, you can find it easily. It's 2 miles past Drovers, and a lot of people know where Drovers is.
Awesome. So go out there and support
Okay.
support your local
Arts.
I was going to say Lola.
Oh.
Yeah, the other people in the play too.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Until next week, don't be afraid, only believe.